Good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday, the 9th of July, and it's time for this week's big review. Now, thanks to the popular opinion and requests of a few fans, we're going to do a little bit of a review on Manchester United today, and more importantly, we're going to talk about the impact of one specific man at that club, and that is Bruno Fernandes. This man has been an absolute revelation since joining the Red Devils on an initial £47 million deal. That was back in late January, and there are add-ons that will be included on that clause depending on Champions League qualification and also on his participation and amount of caps for the club. This man has been absolutely fantastic at the club. One of his former managers, Carlos Carvajal, has said that this man is a world-class player that Manchester United is getting, and he has revolutionised the club for a number of reasons. He's been superb since joining the club, and we're going to go through a couple of the reasons why he's been such a big hit at Manchester United. Last week I spoke about the big review of Liverpool and the fact that they had won the league off the back of a couple of fundamentals. Now, one of those which Manchester United has seemingly got over the hump with is the whole keeping the faith, sticking with a manager, letting him implement a philosophy and not pulling the trigger too quickly. We've seen the whole issue surrounding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the fact that he was looking at potentially getting the sack only a couple of months ago. Form suggested that it was warranted to a degree, but like anything, it does take time for people to set in. So let's talk about some of the key things behind Bruno Fernandes and his success. First thing I want to talk about is his personality and also his personal stats. So, with Bruno Fernandes, he has brought an unbelievable attitude, he's brought charisma to this club, and he's brought a happy face, a smiling face to a club that was really struggling through the season and also struggling in the back end of January. Everyone has talked about the fact that his attitude is magnificent, the way he treats training sessions is something to be, but he's just brilliant. He's got such a focus, he's brought such an up-tempo atmosphere to everybody around him as well, and that's been so important as well with everything that he's done. So that's a big thing. His personality, his attitude has been spot on, and he's fit into a team absolutely beautifully. He was talked about being a number 8 more so than a number 10, but realistically he plays in the 10 position, but he acts as an 8 as well because he can move so beautifully across the pitch, and he has the vision and the support of the gentleman behind him. So what that's meant for is his personality has been absolutely fantastic, and then heading into his personal stats, they have been magnificent so far. So he has played 9 games for United in the Premier League so far. And with that, he has scored 6 goals and also provided 5 assists. So what you're looking at here is a position where you have 11 goal contributions in 9 games in the Premier League. So that's magnificent. You're looking at almost, more than 1 goal involvement, more than that in every single game so far in the Premier League. He's also provided 2 goal contributions in the Europa League for Manchester United as well. So a superb player when you're looking at his personal stats. What that has led to then is team form as well. So when you're talking about a complete uplift, the team form has been magnificent so far. In the last 9 games that he's been a part of in the Premier League, 6 wins, so 9 played, 6 wins, 3 losses. That is absolutely sensational form. They've got the most points of any club in that period since he's been there, and also since restart as well. They've also been playing just as well. When you're looking at the rest of their form, 5 home wins in a row is huge, and because of that, they're looking like a team that is going to progress forward and do big things as the season ends. They've got an FA Cup semi-final coming up as well against Chelsea, and then on the other side they'll either face Manchester City or Arsenal in the final of that FA Cup. But what this has done is really propel them into a position for the Champions League places. So when you're looking at the way that that's set up now with a couple of games to go now in the season, you've basically got Leicester and Chelsea fighting it out now with Man United for that, coveted 3rd and 4th positions. And the way it turns out anyway is that depending on what happens with Manchester City's trial and their appeal process, I believe now for Champions League involvement next year under financial fair play, that is coming up in 4 days' time on July the 13th, and we'll find out whether or not they're actually in the Champions League. So what that may do is actually allow that 5th place to be a little bit more significant. But that type of form has actually lifted them far and away from teams in 6th, 7th and 8th, Sheffield, Wolves, Arsenal, those teams that are pushing for those other positions. So that form has been absolutely magnificent. As I mentioned, most points, and they've also been undefeated as well. So he's making everyone around him better. And most importantly, when we talk about that team form, but it's also the players around him that he's making better. So let's talk about that everyone around him is looking much, much better at the moment. What I wanted to talk about specifically there is, let's have a look now at the lineup board that we would have for United. What they're doing at the moment is playing a back four across the back. You can see the arrows we've got here for the team that's moving forward. It looks like moving forward, if he's fit, Paul Pogba's going to sit here in what's effectively a number 6 position alongside Nemanja Matic. And what that's doing is that's allowing Bruno Fernandes to sit here in effectively a number 10 or a number 8 moving forward. So playing as either a 4-2 and then a 3 and a 1, or effectively a 4-2-1 and then a front 3 in Martial, Greenwood and Rashford. They're looking fantastic in general moving forward. Now, as I talked about before, Fernandes is the player that they've said he's not a specific number 10, but he plays as an 8 more, which is getting the balls in midfielder in these type of positions and driving forward. But the difference is that when he's got the ability and the eye to actually push ahead and find these guys with the final pass. He's also been taking spot kicks. He's brilliant from a free kick. He's brilliant from a corner as well. So, not to mention his vision and ability. He's a player. I saw a stat last week as well that in terms of his percentages, it's one of the highest ever seen of a man that gets the ball and always looks to go forward as well. So if you're receiving that further back, that stat is going to be likely in your favour. But when you're getting that a little bit further forward, to actually be looking forward all the time, to survey the scene around you as a midfielder, and then straight away look to play the through balls for your strikers, whether or not they're actually playing a front 3 or they're sitting back alongside him in more of a 4-2-3-1, whatever the case may be, him in that position has been absolutely superb. What he's done most importantly is looks like he's getting the best out of Paul Pogba. Now, he's been a man that has been under all sorts of pressure. There's been rumours swirling around him for the last couple of years. There's some articles that have come out in the last few days that he's now reconsidering his future to actually stay versus actually departing. So that's a big deal. The fact that he's making the players around him better. Nemanja Matic as well. He's looking to have a third or fourth wave, I guess you could call it, after his brilliant time at Chelsea, of actually pushing forward and turning into that defensive midfielder, as we saw there, to assist Paul Pogba. And if they can get those 3 guys firing in midfield, they've already got the forwards and the youth coming through to support them, along with a pretty stable back 4 now, which it appears to be built around Harry Maguire at centre half. They're in a position where moving forward, this man is going to be huge for them. The impact has been absolutely superb, and pushing forward, the end of the year will be big for them. If they can qualify for the Champions League, there'll be a bonus that goes back to Sporting, but never mind that. He's looking already to follow in the footsteps of Ronaldo, of course, who came from there, Nani, Marcos Rojo, and some of the other players that have come from Sporting Lisbon. But so far, his impact has been superb. His running, his vision, his smiling face. He was a captain at Sporting Lisbon as well, so leadership has been superb. And as I've talked about, those personality and attitude traits have led to his own personal stats being superb. Team form has been wonderful for Man United pushing forward, and the players around him are getting better. So it's such a big thing for them. They're on a 16-game streak in general, 12 wins, 4 draws in all competitions, and they look to play Aston Villa tomorrow morning Australian time, Thursday evening in the UK. And to be honest, I can see them brushing aside Aston Villa, who are really struggling to get out of the drop zone. So that's the man that we've had a look at today. It is the big analysis for this week. Bruno Fernandes, he's doing wonderful things at Man United, and pushing forward, he's going to be one of the best signings we've ever seen in the Premier League. So good luck to the United fans. Personally, it's something that we hate seeing United do well as an Arsenal fan, but this man is going to be big for the Premier League.